What is going on, everyone? CPAT here with another Exceed commentary. Sunday morning, 9:15 a.m. Do you know where your kids are? Well, if you're my parents, then I'm here watching some Sunday morning Exceed, and it is the most wholesome matchup we have here. We have a Carmine Mirrors. This is going to be Chimera Summer Bash. Tiebreak round, final tiebreak round. One of these two players will be making playoffs. The other player will be sent home. And what better way to start off a session of wholesome Sunday morning Exceed than with a Carmine Mirror. It's the first time I've ever seen a Carmine Mirror. I have no idea how this is gonna pan out. It's gonna be messy. It's gonna be a fun time for maybe you. Yeah, right off the bat, can't stick blood pools at the middle of the board because there are gonna be blood pools everywhere. This is gonna be a time. At least the Carmine's gonna lose. There's your silver lining. I believe Carmine is 20-4 in this tournament so far. And yep, there come two blood pools, one for each side. I'll take a look at the blood pool text real quick, although there have been 24 games of Carmine thus far. I'm pretty sure you guys know what Dissolve does, just in case you don't know what Dissolve does. It is a trap boost. Trap boosts have the special property of sustaining themselves if they're not stunned and the trigger is not met. Carmine definitely one of the strongest characters in the game. So it's no surprise to see both these players in a best of 3 high pressure situation bring out their best characters. I believe MrLephisto is 3-2 with Carmine. We see the tech hit come out, discard a continuous boost from play, then strike into a strike from Feathers here. Feathers on red side and MrLephisto on blue side. So a fast option would be like an assault versus like a sweep. So let's see what we're going for. This Carmine says, I'm just going for the cross. Moves the wrong Carmine. Feathers actually like... So Feathers, while MrLephisto was getting some water, switched out the Carmines. Yeah, I'm wondering why MrLephisto discarded his Dissolve. Should be Engage. Yeah, okay. I forgot. Tech hit happened. It is 9 a.m. Did stay up a little bit too late last night, but we are here. We are ready to cast. Maybe we're not ready to cast. Yeah, of course. MrLephisto's Dissolve was tech hit. This is gonna be a long game. Folks. MrLephisto now range 6 puts a Dissolve at range 3. Range 3 doesn't really threaten anything. Until Feathers decides to move in, or MrLephisto plays a second Dissolve. Notably, there are 6 Dissolves in Carmine's deck, so drawing 3 this early is lucky, but not unheard of. Feathers is just going to prepare, because he did spend the tech hit on that last combat. We're going to see the Rainblood come out. Take 1 non-lethal damage, play an Ultra Boost from your discard pile, advance or retreat 2. So MrLephisto now has 2 Dissolve set up, which means that any range 2 attack, any range 1 to 2 attack will hit range 4, so something like that cross that Carmine played, that MrLephisto played, excuse me. I can't refer to them as just Carmine because they're both Carmine, but yeah, MrLephisto getting a really scary setup on the board thus far, looking to win this strike pretty hard. Is Feathers just initiating with the cross here like MrLephisto did? Would not be shocked if that was the case. So even if Feathers initiates with a cross, MrLephisto can still respond with second spin and hit. Notably, spin hits 1 to 6 in this scenario. But that would require having second spin in hand. A dive would also hit. It's actually going to be a thrust, interestingly enough. So the thrust must trigger at least one of these dissolves. Since it hits 0 to 1. So if it calculates from Carmine, it triggers both of them. And he can trigger it from this one. Looks like MrLephisto is actually going to trigger both of the thrusts here. So both of them will add to gauge. Yeah, looks like MrLephisto did not have the dive to counter this, to counter the cross from Feathers. So it looks like MrLephisto wants to trigger both of these. So both of these will go to gauge. I mean, he can trigger only this one. I have no idea what they're doing. Why did Mr. Oh. He kept both of them on the board? Is that possible? Okay. If you have any, oh yeah, it is. I forget, the wording is so weird, right? Like this help text is fake news. It doesn't really do anything. This help text is fake news. But basically, like, you can order the befores in such a way that none of the dissolves go off. It's very weird. As Feathers now puts his dissolve at range 3. Notably, this means that only range 4 attacks hit, and because the dissolve placement at range 3, dive does not hit. So Carmine does have a MrLephisto does have a, I'm going to be doing that all game. MrLephisto does have a 1 to 5 that he can initiate with if he so chooses. If it starts as a 1 to 3, so something that can pulverize or a sweep, would hit Feathers here. And I don't really know how Feathers would dodge it. So Feathers can basically play as his ranged option. He can play Thrust to attempt to trade, right? This Thrust would only do 5 power, but a sweep would hit back for 10 from MrLephisto. It looks like MrLephisto going for that plan. Says, I'll take a 5 for 10 any day. Even if it's not a 5 for 10 per se. Can be a 5 for 8 with the pulverize. So, I mean, I think MrLephisto is just happy with that trade. And if it's a sweep, even pulls a card out, right? And there's no real way for Feathers to dodge this sweep. He's stuck in the corner. And the sweep's going to hit 1 to 5, so good luck dodging an attack that hits 1 to 5, right? And yeah, we're going to see the thrust come out from Feathers. It's actually going to be the pulverize, so the thrust will go first. We'll hit for 3 damage after armor. And we'll trigger the dissolve, and the pulverize will hit back for 8. So both these players now have 2 dissolves in their gauge, so it looks like it's going to be time to exceed soon. Feathers will go first, he will exceed, which means that now he can play dissolves from gauge, and now Lephisto will exceed. Now Lephisto can play dissolves from gauge, and we're back to this like weird neutral position, if you can even call it neutral. I don't know. It's like a bastardized version of neutral. But yeah, range 5. Just a reminder. The only attacks that would hit besides the thrust, which can hit from anywhere, are the spin and the dive, with only 1 dissolve up. So there's kind of this like delicate dance of where to place them. Of course, when Carmine is exceeded, he can advance or retreat 1, by playing Dissolves from Gauge. So looks like we have Feathers moving forward, placing the Dissolve at range 1, threatening, having threats like Assault and Sweep. Lephisto does the same thing, except he steps back, so now he's at range 5, threatening a speed 4, range 1 to 2 dive. Or a speed 2, range 1 to 5 spin, second copy. This is a matchup I have given almost zero thought to, so I don't really. I mean, I'm hoping to learn the. Well, I'm not hoping to learn, but maybe we'll pick up some tips and tricks for the mirror, especially if Carmine's going to be such a popular character in the meta fixture. We're actually just going to see Feathers retreat to range 6, pop that second Dissolve down. Now Feathers threatening a +4 power dive or a +4 power spin. Mephisto has a choice to make. Then he's looking at the discard, maybe thinking of going for a reading play. So, I mean, against Carmine, you do have to kind of manufacture a mix-up. One of the prime ways of doing that is through reading. So, especially if this is good against like kind of mid-tier Carmines. The really, really good Carmines will try to protect their hand against this and basically hope that their top deck can't be easily read. So like Lephisto can, for example, read something like an assault and then maybe hit back with a slow. That could be an option. The only issue is that if that reading whiffs, then Lephisto would be in for a real beating. So, okay, just opts to step back, pop the Dissolve down. Notably, both these players are down 1 thrust so far. However, Lephisto will threaten the second one by placing it at range 2. Feather says, okay, let me put down Dissolve number 3. Now has +0 to 3 range, so again, those dive and spin options will hit at range 7. And we're going to see the reading come out here from Carmine, from MrLephisto. Reading hits! And that is a huge combat win. Reads the dive and plays the thrust. I mean, Feathers was telegraphing that dive for the longest time. We saw it. It was the leftmost card in the hand as well. MrLephisto had the second thrust, was not a bait when he placed the Dissolve here, and successfully diffuses the setup. Carmine on the Feathers side, on red side, takes 5 damage, is stunned, so will lose 3 Dissolves, all in the discard. Notably, I mean, Carmine does have recursion from the discard, but it does take time, obviously. And you need to draw that card as well. And that's what's going to happen. The Rain Blood will come out. Feather should take 1 damage. But the Dissolve will be recurred. Yep, takes the damage. Both these players now at range 5. Notably, MrLephisto can step back or step forward and place the Dissolve down. That's exactly what's going to happen. Now, MrLephisto, he's not threatening the dive, but he's threatening the spin, second copy, at range 6. Also knows that Feathers can't really hit from this range either. Feathers can't also shimmy, right? He can only shake. So if Feathers wants to shimmy, he'll have to revert, then shimmy. Which means that he'll have to exceed later. Sorry, for those of you that don't know, Carmine's a dancer, right? That's his lore, I'm pretty sure. That's his flavor. So he shimmies and shakes, right? He shimmies on front side by moving dissolves already in play, and then shimmying forward or back. And he shakes on backside by recurring those dissolves from Gauge. Yeah, there seems to be a real meta of reading dive here. That's going to be especially prevalent in the Carmine mirrors, I feel like. Just because, I mean, it's somewhat noticeable in Season 6 as well, where it's just like, dive, like, read dive, play assault. I saw it a lot when we were playing with the proxies. Read dive, play assault in between Season 6 characters, so I'm not surprised to see a read dive play come out from MrLephisto there. It just means one less tool you can have used against you to manufacture a mix-up. It's no different in the Carmine mirror than it is for Carmine versus anyone else. You really don't want to get red. Anyway, I believe it is Feathers' turn. Feathers gonna play boost the second Rain Blood. Takes a damage. Plays the second dissolve from discard. Notably, he's now out of Rain Bloods. And retreats to range 8. Okay, this is good, high quality Carmine gameplay. Notably, without the recursion, Feathers is now stuck with these 5. I guess he's got 3. I guess he's still got 3 left in the deck. Because he did recur 2 of them with spins. But one more stun. If MrLephisto gets one more stun off somehow, Feathers is in huge trouble. I mean, Feathers is already in really big trouble here. I wonder if this devolves into a CC0 meta. Okay, Carmine will revert with the second copy of Cross. Sorry, I will keep doing that because I'm still kind of waking up in the morning here. But MrLephisto will revert, putting the second copy of Cross into the Gauge. And then will shimmy forward, bringing one of the dissolves forward with him. Wonder if Feathers will be inclined to do the same, or will Feathers wait for MrLephisto to come towards him? This is probably a world where MrLephisto on his turn probably just shimmies back, bringing those dissolves closer at some point. Especially when he can. So he's got 2 of the blanks. This is the end. So he can maybe start threatening those as well. No, Carmine can be Feathers, excuse me, going to be placing down a 3rd dissolve here. Should be a drinking game. Play every time I call one of these players Carmine instead of their actual name. Take a drink. Except you'd probably be dead by now because I've done it 20 times. Basically every single time one of these players takes a turn, I call him Carmine instead of their actual name. So apologies for that, but hopefully I can get the action down as clearly for you as possible. So I wonder if Carmine, for example, veils off and then reverts again and then starts shimmying, bringing those you blanks, this is the end, forward. Can really threaten those, and those will basically hit the entire board, right? For all intents and purposes, they'll hit every space that Carmine is in. So if he brings one here, I mean, that's just a free, 9 damage? So I wonder if that is what MrLephisto's plan is. Notably, Carmine Feathers from this position, excuse me. Again, threatening the range 4 options of dive and spin, although both copies of spin are down. The only thing from Carmine that hits, from Feathers that hits here, is that second copy of dive. Notably, MrLephisto can't just read the dive anymore and play thrust because he's out of thrusts. Believe Feathers still has 1 thrust to his name. Okay, Tech Hit comes out from MrLephisto. Very interesting. So see me attack it strike. I wonder why he played. I mean, nothing from Feathers will hit, but nothing from MrLephisto will hit either. So I wonder if MrLephisto is initiating with just a range 1 move, like a gimme that, right? So a move that doesn't trigger the dissolves, or maybe he does want to trigger the dissolve so he can exceed and then put him in more fortuitous locations. Because right now they are kind of, with the way both these Carmines are playing, so they're playing really passively, right? Which seems correct for the most part. Maybe MrLephisto wants to reposition these dissolves. Maybe Feathers wants to do the same. The only issue with that for MrLephisto is that Feathers is already exceeded, whereas MrLephisto's not, so he's going to take an extra turn to exceed. Okay, it's going to be the focus, it's going to be the gimme that, as we predicted. So MrLephisto's dissolves won't go off, but Feathers' dissolves will go off. Notably, Feathers can order his before, so he can actually trigger this dissolve first, have it fail, and then have this dissolve go off second. Sorry, for some reason I conflated this with Pulverize, which is actually just the same card, except 1 to 3. So same numbers. So Feathers can shake forward if he wants. Looks like he's going to do just that. Placing the dissolve at range 3 from the opponent, range 4 from himself. And then shake forward is an option. However, if he does that, he is walking himself a little bit into the belly of the beast of MrLephisto's Carmine. And yeah, looks like Feather's going to shake further into the corner. And play the dissolve at range 4, range 3 from the opponent. One more dissolve, and the second thrust looks really big from Feathers here. As MrLephisto just going to shake back. Placing the U-Blake, this is the end, at range 4. Sorry, 1 copy at range 4, 1 copy at range 5. So it's coming. I mean, this attack is coming. It's very slow. It's kind of like a threatening Nirvana. So it's coming. Eventually, Feathers will have to deal with it. Obviously, it can just like tech hit or block it. I mean, assuming that's what MrLephisto's plan is. Right now, he does only have the 2 gauge and will need the Veil off to get gauge number 3, so. This is a highly technical game of Exceed we have going on here. And yet, at the same time, it's also sort of not. Okay. Feathers looks like he's going to be placing a dissolve at range. He does not have that UA. Would need to revert to shimmy. Nope. Okay. As expected, MrLephisto follows suit, placing a dissolve at range 5 from himself, range 3 from the opponent. One more dissolve for Carmine for Feathers here, and suddenly a twist is 11 power. And hits, right? Right, 0 to 2, 0 to 3, 0 to 4. Yeah, I think that's how it works. Yeah, 0 to 5, yeah, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, so one more dissolve and it's one more dissolve here and a twist hits. Or one more dissolve anywhere in this range actually. And you can just trigger from the back one. And yeah, that looks exactly like what Feathers is going to try to accomplish here. Wonder if Feathers goes for the bait to try to bait out second copy of block from Lephisto and then plays the real twist, the real thrust afterward. Seems like a real Yomi player move, and we all know Feathers has come from Yomi, like the rest of the good Exceed players. Just kidding. Everyone knows the best Exceed players were forged in the fires of Yomi, though. Okay, Lephisto prepares. Back to Feathers here. Let's see if he goes for that bait into the real thing. Oh, Feathers says change cards 4, drawing 5. Give me a fresh hand. Give me these normals that I don't want red, although... Oh no, Feathers miscounted how many... Feathers just miscounted how many normals he had. Or how many cards he had in hand, and revealed a spike in hand, which now can be read by MrLephisto. That is super unfortunate. I mean, to be fair, Spike would only trigger one of these dissolves, so it's not the end of the world. But Feathers, with a little bit of the Torment nerves there, miscounting how many cards he had in hand, and accidentally revealed a Spike, wanting to discard it to not get red. Normally, Mephisto can't really punish that super hard. He doesn't even have the gauge for the blank. This is the end, but it's kind of far away, right? If he moves the blank, this is the end here, and then veils off, then can threaten a 0 to 3. Which I feel like is the game plan from MrLephisto, but at the same time I can't really tell. I can't really tell what he's going for. He's just kind of, he's just been matching Feathers here, but what feels like for no real reason just yet. I mean, one of these turns is going to be very explosive, though. Or that explosive turn will never come, and then we'll just go to deck out one of the two. This is the first Carmine Mirror that I've casted. First Carmine Mirror that I've seen. Hopefully the last one. Although for some reason, I do doubt that. Tech Hit come out. Second copy of Tech Hit for MrLephisto. Drops the You Blank This is the End from here. And strikes with a card from hand. Nothing hits from MrLephisto at range 8. With only 3 dissolves on the board, right? Because he doesn't have the gauge for the Ha 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 Be Devoured. Nor does he have the dissolves in the gauge for Ha 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 Be Devoured. MrLephisto down both copies of Thrust. So this feels like a weird null beat. That's exactly where it is. She just spent the focus, which is interesting, because I thought that would be the veil off option for Carmine, for MrLephisto to get his third gauge, but instead spends the focus just to cycle cards. That's an interesting decision. I would have... I mean, that didn't really... I guess it did remove this dissolve here, right? So Feathers only has 1 dissolve left in his deck. Somewhere, I believe. If I've counted my dissolves correctly, he has 1 dissolve left in his deck somewhere. So Feathers can still threaten that same setup that he had before, and then Mephisto is out of tech hits for it. And then on top of that, I'm not really sure how Mephisto plans on building his third gauge if he wants to threaten this, but it looks like maybe he doesn't even want to threaten this. But I thought this would be a good threat to have. Okay, here comes the reading from Feathers. Again, Feathers has nothing that hits at range 8. Oh wait, does Feathers have Thrust? No, Thrust doesn't hit here. Thrust does not hit from here. Right? Yeah, there's no way a Thrust hits from here. It's only 0 to 4, and he's 5 away. Reading whiffs, so it doesn't even matter. I don't know. It feels like a low impact reading, though, no? You see a hand of 2-3-7, give me that twist. I don't remember the last card. Ahaha, be devoured. So Mephisto actually has 2 dissolves in his hand. So with those 2 dissolves, if those 2 dissolves eventually go down, he will be able to threaten a full board spike or full board sweep. Right. So that's a problem. Maybe, yeah, Mephisto just gonna play the... Oh... Feathers triggers all of his dissolves there. And the Reading Assault would have... Oh, the Reading Assault would have hit. I'm an idiot. The Reading Assault would have hit. I didn't know that was an option left in Mephisto's deck, though. So yeah, the Reading Assault would have hit, and then would have been like 1-6. And then the Pulverize would have hit back for 10. And then discarded these 3 dissolves. But as it stands, not meant to be. So basically, I feel like, I don't know, it just feels like in this matchup, every single time you draw one of those, close, one of the advanced normals, you just get rid of it right away. You hot potato it. Okay, Feathers will prepare now. Carmine will shimmy forward, bringing the blank. This is the end with him. Now at range 6 with 3 dissolves on his side, whereas Feathers has none. So is this game over? So we saw a known spike in Mephisto's hand. How does Carmine deal with known spike? With the Reckless Run. So 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Crosses over. Notably, still he has to deal with a full board Eubank. This is the end, but at least that can be blocked. At least that can be blocked. The only issue is, does Mephisto have a second reading left? If he does, then he can read something into a, like a 13 power Eubank. This is the end. Oh, but doesn't have the third gauge because didn't have a chance to veil off. Sure. But yeah, good use of the Reckless Run there from Feathers. Important, I guess, a very important thing in the Carmine mirror is whenever the opposing Carmine's not in the corner, you can always Reckless Run to attempt to ruin their setup. Looks like we're gonna see big CC action. No, big move action probably from Mephisto. And yeah, it's gonna be a big move back 3. I don't know why he didn't move back 4. I'm like, why not just move back here? Feels like you're threatening so much more. Maybe because he didn't want him too far away, so for Carmine to shake back, that makes sense. I feel like there are a lot of plays going on right now, and I'm not doing them justice, but I will try my best. Okay, Carmine, Mephisto shimmies back. We are now at range 6. Mephisto has 3 dissolves in front of him, and Feathers only has the 1. And Feathers dissolve doesn't even trigger the thrust. Notably, the dissolves are in such a way that the Ublank This Is the End does not hit from this position just yet. And notably, we also saw Mephisto holding multiple dissolves in hand, but choosing not to play them. Having the restraint to not play them just yet. Okay, Feathers doing a quick discard check. Mephisto has 7 in hand, 6 in deck. Feathers has, because of that big CC action that Feathers took, Feathers only has 5 in hand and 1 in deck. So massive deck pressure here. Which I don't know if that's a thing or not, but could be a thing. Carmine places a dissolve at range 4 and shimmies back further into the corner. Has a known hand. Don't think Feathers is going to give us a look at it. A second reading could be catastrophic. Especially if Lephisto shimmies back and then reads. This you blank, this is the end, hits range 4. Interesting. Carmine gonna stand. Lephisto gonna go a little bit into the belly of the beast here. And shimmies forward. Notably, Feathers does not have a reading left. And Feathers gonna CC all those normals away. So even more immense deck pressure. Yeah, and those normals go back into the deck. This is gonna be a CC3, drawing 4. Those are all the normals gone from Feathers, although he might have drawn some more, who knows. And Lephisto gonna immediately strike into that. He has 3 dissolves, all at range 1. Feathers has 2 dissolves at range 3 and 4. So for Lephisto, he can't play slow. Or he can play slow, but he risks getting spiked, because Feather's spike will hit. Lephisto, the fastest he can go is he can go speed 7 with a twist. He can go speed 7 with second copy of twist, which would be 8 power, gain advantage. 1 to 5, 8, 7, gain advantage. Which I believe is the option that Lephisto's probably going for here, if I had to guess. Yep, and Feathers decides, yeah, I'm just going to block that. Can't really deal with that. 8 power, just a little bit too much defenses. So Feathers will spend 1 force, 2 force. Notably that this is, notably Feathers now post reshuffle, so only has 1 block left after this. And MrLephisto is looking really, really good. I mean, he was looking really, really good like 30 minutes ago when that last strike happened, when I believe it was a reading, but it's still looking really, really good thus far. Feathers can spend 1 more force if he so chooses to take no damage. Currently taking 2, has only built up 6 armor against the 8 power of the twist from Lephisto. Feathers takes the 2 damage, says force is more important to me than life at this point. And Lephisto will place the twist down as a trap boost per the ability. We're going to see a mix-up come into play, and Lephisto stepping into the belly of the beast and playing an EX attack. This EX should be known, but I don't know what it is. I have no idea what EX this is. Is this... It can't be EX Spike. I don't know, it feels like, Oh, it's an EX Speed... Isn't it really EX Speed Devoured? It's EX Speed Devoured. This is a 1 to 4, what is it, 12? 1 to 4, 12, 7 being represented. Sorry, 1 to... Okay, so 3 ultras were paid for this, right? So that's going to be plus 6 power, plus 7 power, plus 12 power or something. Okay, yeah, they figured out the math. Wow. It's shocking that MrLephisto had the discipline to keep the be devoured. Clearly a master of this mirror. Going for the twist advantage chain to the be devoured. And MrLephisto up huge now. Up 26 to 4. I mean, Feathers... So the life deficits aren't a big deal for Carmine to go through, as we can see, right? I mean, Lephisto has done like 20 plus uncontested damage to Feathers. The only issue is that Feathers is running out of dissolves, right? He just dropped 2 more dissolves, ran out of block as well, or running out of block as well, only 1 block left. This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough for Feathers to come back. Wow. I can't believe he had the discipline to keep the Be Devoured in the EX Be Devoured in hand even. It was a 12 power Being Devoured to boot. Looks like MrLephisto going for the reshuffle here. Oh, it looks like there are 2 assaults. So I guess I was just bad at tracking cards. Remember that reading that Feathers did like 20 minutes ago? Apparently there are 2 assaults left in Carmine's deck. But was unable to catch him. That reading was, I mean, it was not a super high percentage reading, but it was a relatively high percentage reading, right? But that swing is just so huge. And it looks like, yeah, these Carmine mirrors are getting down to the mix-ups in the readings, right? Lephisto able to hit his reading, Feathers missed his reading, and suddenly it's 26-4. Anyway, Lephisto smartly says, okay, I know you counted my deck, and I know you saw 2 air dashes, so let me spend 1, or saw 2 assaults, so let me spend 1 to retreat, so I don't get red. And we're going to see Feathers revert and shimmy forward. Now standing at range 6 from Lephisto with 2 dissolves out. Notably, dissolves are not in prime position for dive, but they are for spin. Lephisto exceeds, has 2 dissolves in the gauge. Feathers moves forward to range 5, bringing a dissolve forward with him. Now 1 to 3s will hit 1 to 5. Also setting up a spike though with this positioning. Lephisto places a dissolve down at range 2 and shakes backward. We're now staying at range 6. Will Feathers have another? If Feathers has another dissolve, this is still totally fine. If Feathers is out of dissolves, this can be this can get a little bit awkward. Okay, Carmine gonna shimmy forward. Now, and very importantly, no longer threatening that spike. I would have to imagine that Lephisto shakes here. Did Lephisto draw a reading? If Lephisto draws a reading, then that could be pretty spicy. Just off the top, I think Lephisto's drawn, what, 2 or 3 cards since the reshuffle? Well, he's looking at that discard like he's drawn a reading. I'm going to do a quick count. So 1, 8, 10, 30. 2, 8, 23, 28, 30. Yeah, because, I mean, both these players put a bunch of garbage on the board. So I want to make sure that they have the appropriate amount of cards, and it looks like they do. Definitely don't want to be losing a game like this to technicality and forcing everyone to sit through a second Carmine Mirror, although that's probably going to be happening once playoffs start. Anyway, it is Lephisto's turn here. Staring down the barrel of 2 dissolves, has 1 of his own on the board. Notably, Carmine has his dissolves positioned in such a way that the fast options he could throw are thrust and assault. Both of them hit. Lephisto going to place a dissolve down and shake backwards. So staying at range 5, both these players have dissolves on the board. 2 dissolves on the board. The big difference I can see is that Lephisto's threatening spike. Feathers is currently not. That's basically the only difference I see in the dissolve positionings thus far. Basically every option is off for both these players, though. Okay, Feathers going for the reading now. Reading hits. It's a reading on the dive, and it's going to be an assault. Yep. So Feathers now gets a good reading going his way. Must trigger both dissolves. And we'll deal 8 damage to Mr. Lephisto, also diffusing his reading threat. And yeah, like I said, I mean, Feathers just honestly, just by how few combats have been, Feathers literally just needs 2 combats to win the game. They are back to neutral now. Both these players are down like multiple dissolves. I mean, obviously you can get them back with Rain Blood, but that's important to note, I think. Okay, Feathers now spends the Assault from Gauge to Exceed. Back to LePhisto here, who I believe just had 2 dissolves discarded. But we're now in true neutral, and LePhisto just says, we're in true neutral, time to strike. Feather says, just say no. Crosses out, and LePhisto really went for it. He went for the spike here. I could totally respect that play. Especially when Feathers has multiple dissolves in the gauge, and LePhisto does not have any. Okay, Carmine now going to be threatening the thrust. Putting the dissolve at range 2 from the opponent, range 3 from himself, and shakes forward. LePhisto prepares. This could be a rare moment of weakness for LePhisto's Carmine here. Feathers places another dissolve down, moves forward to range, shakes forward to range 4. Now it dissolves at 1 and 2. Those 1 to 2s will hit, as well as the range 3 attacks. Tech hit comes out from LePhisto. And striking. Could this be spin? Notably, again, from LePhisto, the only options that hit are spin and dive. Carmine, to dodge the spin, would have to cross again. Can also, like, armor through, I guess, with a gimme that. Can armor through with a pulverize and hit back for 6. Maybe that's a day option. Although, Carmine would be jumping over to here, and then yoinking advantage with this, or would be... Actually, Carmine can't yoink advantage, because Carmine can only jump to here. So that's at least a saving grace. Going for... Oh, interesting. Feathers calling out the bluff that LePhisto was not playing a spin there. Carmine plays his... Feathers plays his own spin, will hit for 4 after armor. LePhisto will miss with the focus and draw a card. LePhisto kind of betting that Feathers would go for an assault play there. That is... I'm not really sure I like that a whole lot. Anyway, LePhisto gets hit for 4 more. We're going to see Feathers shake back, putting the dissolve at range 1, and then LePhisto just immediately respecting onto that dissolve. I wonder, is LePhisto having trouble closing out this game? I mean, it's 26-4 at one point. It's now 14-4. It's only been 2 combats, but... We have Feathers with 11 cards in his deck, so LePhisto's 14, so I don't think deck pressure will play as big a role in this game as I thought it would. LePhisto looking like he's having a difficult time drawing dissolves on second reshuffle. But, again, doesn't really need a dissolve to close out this game, right? Or does he? I don't know. And Carmine does have a billion armor, right? Armor. Wonder if Feather strikes with a gimme that. Feathers can also give me that to Blood Spike at this position. Deal 2 damage and then strike. I'm assuming he doesn't want to let this respect go through, though. Lets the respect go through. Just kidding. Feathers just prepares? I did not expect that. Why is Feathers preparing? Does Feathers have a dominant speed option? Does he have, like, EX Grasp in hand? And that's why he's preparing? We're gonna see the Just Defense come out, though. Plus 3 armor, now strike. Plus 3 armor Pulverize. Plus 3 armor Spin. To catch a cross. I'm assuming this is going to be very slow from Mephisto. Carmine going to attempt to dive over it. Yeah, Feathers dives over it. Says, yeah, don't want to deal with the spin. And it was the spin coming out from Mephisto trying to catch the cross. So dive will go first. Notably, that is second reading down for Feathers. And then the spin will advance Mephisto forward to range 1. But it is back to Feathers here. A little bit of a combat win for Mephisto in that he's diffused Feathers' second reading, I guess. Feathers now going to respect forward to range 3. And yeah, I mean, Mephisto is playing this so gingerly, and he feels like he has to, because it looks like he's not drawing his dissolves. But that strike was a little bit frisky, I will say. But I guess just wanted to bet that... I just wanted to bet that Feathers didn't draw the second dive. I mean, what else would have worked? Right, because, like, spins awkwardly, like, speed 2. It's like, EX, give me that. Wouldn't have worked even, right? Nor would have an option like EX Pulverize, EX Focus, those sort of things. So going for the plus 3 armor ranged... plus 3 armor with add speed 2 makes sense there. Anyway, Mephisto draws the second tech hit and goes for it. Range 3 mix up here for Mephisto here. Assault, Dive, Spike. I believe there's one of each. There's actually just one of each left in Mephisto's deck. Mephisto could also be going for a sweep-like, or sweep itself. And, wow, yeah. I mean, the end of this game ended up being no dissolves, only mix-ups, funnily enough. Well, I guess if this is the end of the game. Looks like Feathers does not have a cross, because every time he's been in this situation, he's just mashed cross. Plays the you blank, this is the end. Into the Pulverize. So you blank, this is the end, will miss, but armors through the Pulverize. Will only take 2 damage for it. There's another dissolve down for Feathers. Yeah, Feathers just really ran out of options to deal with that mix-up there. That's so sketch. It's incredibly sketch if Feathers doesn't have an additional dissolve, because then Mephisto just strikes again, right? And oh no, Feathers has to prepare. Only down to 6 cards left in his deck as well. Mephisto places a dissolve on center, right underneath Feathers. And yeah, just with the obfuscated hands, I guess it was really hard to tell who had the more solid game plan towards the end, right? But definitely Dissolve drawing had to do a lot with second reshuffle, especially because both these players, they lost 2 dissolves so early on at post reshuffle that the remaining 4 dissolves just had to play such a big role in when they were drawn alongside tech hits and everything. And yeah, I mean, obviously in a mirror match, when you draw cards, it's going to be brutally important. That's one of the downsides of a lot of the mirror matches, and it looks like the Carmine mirror match is no different, unfortunately. Just when you draw certain cards predicates how well you will do. Not to take anything away from MrLephisto here. He's played... I mean, his first reshuffle was nearly immaculate. But that's just what's going to happen in mirror matches. And looks like Feather's going to initiate a strike here into the Dissolve. Notably, I don't think there's a twist up for Mephisto. LePhisto going for the wild swing. And the cross... Feathers crosses out successfully. LePhisto's trap stays in play, though, because he wild swung a grasp. It looks like LePhisto going to revert shimmy. Shimmy's forward, bringing the dissolve with him. Notably, this threatened second spin and the thrusts. We know LePhisto didn't... Actually, no, we don't know. Maybe LePhisto read that this was a cross and decided not to play thrust from hand. Because this is the third time Feathers has attempted to cross out of a setup, of a LePhisto setup now. So maybe that was the read from LePhisto, and that's why he just decided to wild swing. And we're going to see Carmine Reckless Run. Will spend 2 force to do so. Spends a thrust. Spends a focus. Spends an armored option there. That's actually pretty spicy. I wonder if that baits LePhisto into perhaps striking with a twist here. Trying to finish the game off. I think if LePhisto has a cross, he strikes with it. Pretty much 100% of the time. LePhisto checking his own discard. We're seeing the Rain Blood come out. Retreat 2, place a blood pool. I'm assuming it's gonna go somewhere where you can threaten the range 3 mix-up. Yep. Threatening Spike Assault mix-up with thrust as well. Of course. Well, how will Feathers deal with this? Feathers has been delicately trying to dance around these LePhisto setups, but I have no idea how he's going to diffuse this one. Maybe a tech hit. But a tech hit is so bad here at range 4. Let me go ahead and fix that. Yeah, I don't want the card duplication glitch. But anyway, it looks like Feather's going to air dash to range 1. Carmine says, okay, my time to shine. I'm going to strike here. Feather's wild swinging for a block. Doesn't hit it. It's a pulverize anyway. So yeah, looks like LePhisto takes game 1. Carmine marriage lasting just about 1 hour. But LePhisto had that big early health advantage, and was able to push it through to the end. Second reshuffle, definitely the setups got sloppy from both players. Got a little scrappy with readings and all that. But LePhisto able to close it out with that nearly immaculate pre-reshuffle gameplay with the Carmine and the Carmine Mirror. So anyway, LePhisto up 1-0 in the set against Feathers. A reminder, this is a best of 3 set, not a best of 5 like playoffs will be. So LePhisto only has 1 more game to win to make it into playoffs. We'll be playing either the Sagat or the Merkava. Feathers, of course, can run it back with the Carmine, or can play Ryu, Beheaded, or Bang. Notably, this is Feathers' first loss with Carmine in the tournament. Of course, it had to come in the mirror, but you know how it is. Yeah, Feathers down to his last game. Potentially. I'm assuming he'll stick to the Carmine. I don't know. I casted LePhisto's games in the past, but I can't remember whether he favors the Sagat or the Merkava. I can actually check his stats right now. Looks like LePhisto so far in this tournament is 1-2 with Sagat, but 3-1 with Merkava. So So we're going to see the Carmine Merkava come out, perhaps. I don't know how that matchup goes. I mean, Merkava's slippery, has a lot of movement, but doesn't have a lot of power to his name. And Carmine obviously does, so... should be an interesting matchup if Lephisto opts for that. It's like both these players are like taking a little bit of a break, mental break after that Carmine game. I will actually take a little bit of a break as well. I will be right back. All right, I'm back, and I was thinking about it, and like I've said in the past, and I think maybe other players have said this in the past as well, if we're looking for characters that might have a shot against Carmine, look to Season 3. And that's exactly what MrLephisto is doing here, going for the Sagat into the Carmine. But Season 3 can build up some good numbers, whether they're red numbers or they're yellow numbers, or in Sagat's case, both yellow and red numbers. Right? Because, I mean, Sagat's Swift Destruction, he is, like... he can, in theory, zone out Carmine, even. If he breaks the setup and then goes for an LTS, that would be funny as well. And yeah, Lephisto agrees, looks like. Maybe, I mean, he plays Carmine, right? So maybe he knows the matchup and is more comfortable with the Sagat. But even though Lephisto's only 1-2 with the Sagat, but 3-1 with the Merkava, I do like the Sagat pick. I'm happy to see him go for it. Oh, looks like we're still in mulligan phase. I'm like, wow, Feather's striking turn 1, huh? Nope, looks like he's on the mulligan phase. Moles 1, no, thinks about it. Moles 2, Moles 3. Looks like he had like an EX that he wanted to keep, but then decided against it, if I had to guess. Because getting those early dissolves is so crucial for Carmine, and if Carmine's unable to do that, especially into a character like Sagat, Carmine could be in for a bit of a troublesome time. We basically know Feathers has a what? We don't see the turn 1 dissolve. Instead, we see a turn 1 respect come out from Carmine. Is this to counter like a getting pushed? Right, because when Carmine gets pushed, he's unable to hit at range 4 with a lot of his cards. This is going to be a cross from Sagat, probably? Yep, cross from Sagat beats the dive. Carmine takes 3 damage. Back to range 4 here. So yeah, I'm assuming that's why Carmine made that play, was because he didn't want to get pushed out by a card like Tiger Shot. And then be unable to respond back. So yeah, I mean, looks like Feathers has played this matchup before, because that's not something that you would notice the first time you play the matchup, I feel like, right? Unless you're just like a really, really cognizant player. But maybe Feathers has grinded this match a little bit. Mix up. No, not mix up. Just spending the spike to move to range 3. Not putting a dissolve down yet. But he kept 2 cards, so I'm assuming he has a dissolve in hand. Because if you have a hand of 5 cards as Carmine, and you don't have a dissolve, what cards would you keep that you don't mulligan everything, right? It just feels like there's no card that you would keep. I don't know, what's Carmine representing here? Like EX Assault? I doubt it. I doubt you keep EX Assault. We're gonna see a reading come out here from Sagat. Really early reading come out here. Read something, play the Tiger Shot. Reading whiffs, so we'll be able to counter this with a spin at the very least. So we'll be able to hit back. We see a hand of 0, 1, 2 thrust spin. What did Feathers keep that he had 2 cards but got caught with no dissolves in his hand? This is big. This is big trouble. This is big trouble for Feathers. So the Tiger Shot will hit first at least. We'll hit for 3 damage. Spin will hit back for 4. Carmine will get pushed out, but then we'll just be able to advance. And Sagat already builds gauge number 3 as well, on top of that. Adding insult to injury. And yeah, we saw that hand. That hand is looking pretty dire for Carmine. 0, 1, 2 thrust spin. At the very, I mean, probably just kind of change cards all the normals, right? To get that deck velocity going, get some dissolves in hand hopefully soon. Keeps the block, discards the sweep and the focus. Maybe just decides to spend the gauge too. Yeah, decides to spend the gauge. That's gonna be CC3, drawing 4, keeping the block in hand, however. Yeah, I guess, I mean, discarding the block means that Swift Destruction with Sagat's tiny little gray pet is just free, right? So Destruction's free, Massive's free. I mean, Sagat has a couple scary boosts, right? He obviously is light because he's a Season 3 character. This start is disastrous from Carmine, it feels like. Let's see if Feathers can make up some ground with the Carmine. Sagat gonna be initiating another strike here, this time face down. So we're looking at an Assault Spike mix-up, maybe? I mean, obviously, Sagat can throw some extra kinks in, right? Sagat can Tiger Uppercut this, Sagat can Tiger Knee this. Carmine Wild Swing second spin into the Spike. Carmine down to 19 HP. Really, really good, really solid start here from Sagat. Kid Carmine finally draws a dissolve, places it at range 1. At the very least, Sagat has been striking a whole lot, so doesn't really have a whole lot of cards in hand. Nobody can exceed if he wants, but like won't get the retreat value, and yeah, just opts to prepare instead. First dissolve got tech, but luckily Feathers had the second one. Yeah, I'm really questioning Feathers' mulligan choices then. Like, I wonder what he kept. He kept like a focus for a Veil Off. That seems incredibly greedy. He kept a thrust maybe? And a block? I don't even know. I have no idea. My Carmine gonna be initiating a strike here at range 2 with only 1 dissolve up, so only 1 +2 power +0 to 1 range in play. That Sagat would have to deal with. Fast slow mix up here. I mean, Carmine can go up to speed 7, can go down to speed 1. Looks like it's gonna be the Tiger Uppercut. So the Tiger Uppercut will go first, will hit for 1. And the gimme that will obviously hit back for 5 and will gain 2 life. So with one strike, health totals are now equalized. Sagat's still kind of stuck in the corner, however. Sagat will get pushed back into the corner, of course, due to the hit effect on Give Me That. Lord, what a card. Gains 2 life, 3 armor, 5 power. Back to Sagat here, who is stuck in the corner. At some point, we'll have to move out. Wonder if it was worth wild swinging there just to keep the additional card in hand for Sagat on defense. So the health differential is evaporated, right? In that one strike, we went from like -7 to -1 for Carmine, something like that. Yeah, because Carmine healed 1 damage in that strike and then dealt 5 damage in that strike. And also got hit, obviously, but... Oh, wait, why did Lephisto not crit this Tiger Uppercut? Okay, Sagat actually just gonna exceed. Gets no retreat value. But gets +1 power, +1 speed on his strikes now. Carmine spends a turn to exceed to get access to the 1 dissolving gauge. Why did Lephisto not crit this? It felt like he had such a large amount of gauge in hand. Not in hand, but available to him. I mean, maybe he just thought the critical didn't matter. But, like, I don't know. Maybe he didn't want the additional space. Right? I mean, in hindsight, we can see that. Okay, I mean, obviously it was Give Me That. Give Me That would have missed. Second reading coming out from Lephisto. But, I mean, like, negates the grasp and negates other things. Looks like we're going to read something and play an assault. It's going to whiff, so Carmine's going to be able to hit back. The only question is, does Carmine not let the assault go through and hit back with a twist instead? Normally this is a 5 power, 6 speed assault. So Ken just kind of no-sell it by playing twist. Instead of focus or sweeping it, and that might be worth it. That might be worth not giving Sagat advantage. And yeah, Feather's pondering that exact same question. Does he go for the slow, or does he go for the twist to outspeed the assault? And yeah, looks like he's going for the twist. I agree with this. Just gonna be 2 damage, outspeeds the assault, stuns it out, of course. Feathers, please shuffle your hands. I don't remember the order, but there's an order there. You see Superior come out from Carmine. Your next attack is considered an EX. Threatening that EX Focus, EX Sweep. EX Sweep here will be 9 power, 3 speed. EX Thrust. So we've seen Parry come out. What is the parry target? Parry's the thrust. Okay. Carmine now only has slow options in his hand for now. Unless he just drew a fast option. Feathers just says, I'm happy with this position. Have 2 boost out, a dissolve, and a superior. Let me just prep here. Back to Lephisto. Lephisto prepares in turn. Yeah, so I guess this critical effect on the Tiger Uppercut mattered on only, like, basically just grasp and Give Me That. But I think it was worth, maybe it was worth pursuing. I don't know, maybe Lephisto just red focus or sweep there. I decided not to go for the crit and value the gauge more. I mean, a couple days ago we did see a player just play a season 3 character and spend so much of their gauge doing nothing and ended up losing the game. So maybe that was a part of the thought process there. Wait, it's gonna be the focus. It's gonna be initiated. Tiger Shot will go first. Will hit for nothing, and the focus will hit back for 7. So Sagat just getting bullied in the corner here. At the very least, the Tiger Shot draws a card and adds top card of discard to gauge. So Sagat now does have 4 gauge. Can go for a Tiger Cannon. And going for the Tiger Cannon, does Carmine have the second focus? Otherwise, we are going to see Tiger Cannon, low Tiger Shot, true combo. Just the block. Wonder why I blocked this one, though. Takes the 2 damage. Gets pushed 3. Pushed to range 5, where... Okay, Carmine now decides to spend a sweep. Takes 1 damage. Oh yeah, of course, it was empowered with +1 power as well, because Sagat succeeded. Are we going to see the true combo into the low Tiger Shot? We are not. We're going to see a Fierce boosted from Mephisto instead. Maybe Mephisto boosts Fierce because he reads Carmine has a dive, because Carmine just blocks the Tiger Cannon instead of just wall swinging. Although now giving Carmine like a chance to play the dissolve from the gauge, so I don't know. Maybe that doesn't seem the most correct. Look at the art on this card. Look at that art. Looks like a really expensive Ultra, except when you realize that it just true combos into the low tier, into the LTS. And look at that mean mug on Sagat there. You know that card's for real. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the big expenditure 4 gauge into nothing. Would have preferred just strike with the LTS roll there. Like, didn't have the crit effect, but still. What's the crit effect on LTS? +1 power, draw a card. Okay, so Carmine places a dissolve at range 1 from himself, range 3 from Sagat, and shimmies forward. Sagat with the +2 power at range 4. See the parry come out. Parry misses. You see a hand of block, grasp, pulverize, and EXP devoured. So 2 more dissolves coming up from Carmine, and looks like Carmine has survived that early game and has survived it quite well. I believe it should be 0-7, not 0-1. Wonder what was parried. It's just because Mephisto knew like 3 of the cards in his hand, I feel like. Maybe only 2 of the cards, actually. Yeah, I don't know. That's a head scratcher. Don't know what was parried, really. Wait, back to Carmine here. Change cards. He sees 3, drawing 4. Notably, if he has 2 copies of a normal in here, that can be reading. That could be red. No, it can't be red. Mephisto used both his readings already. Okay, never mind. Wonder why Feathers got rid of the grasp then. Maybe he just values the additional card that much more than a grasp, I'm assuming. But Mephisto down both focuses, just remember that. Standing at range 4 is kind of like a weird, awkward spot. Not so much with the massive anymore. +0-1 range, +2 armor, +2 guard. Almost has like a super EX, +2 power, +2 armor, +2 guard, +0-1 range. It's like It's like superior in steroids. Just needs the speed now. So Carmine, with this current dissolve positioning, can't threaten the thrust. So the max speed, he's threatening is speed 5 with the assault. Is LePhisto setting up for a potential... Is he setting up for a potential spike here? Is that what's happening? Loses like only, or quote unquote loses. Oh, but doesn't really have that much health to his name is the problem. Only has 12 health. See, anyway, Tech Hit comes out on the massive into a strike. So we see like assault come out from Carmine, perhaps, or can be the pulverized that was in the hand. I don't know if Feathers even shuffled his hand. So like this could be just the pulverized if it came from the left side of the hand. Assuming he kept that, maybe he didn't keep it after they changed cards. I can't remember, but always shuffle your hand in a tournament, folks. Always shuffle your hand. And if this is the pulverize, reminder that Sagat has an answer to pulverize on the board with the LTS. If he goes crit LTS, and this is the pulverize, that is a huge misstep from Feathers. It's a dive, okay. It's the assault. Assault will go first, will miss, and then the dive will hit back. At the very least, Sagat is finally out of the corner, but now down to his last 5 HP. Yeah, I believe there are 2 dives left in Feather's deck, so... Dive to try to counter the spike, of course. I mean, also just on curve. Sagat can't really go above curve there, right? On curve is totally fine with +2 power. Sagat boosting Fierce, telegraphing second cross, perhaps? Only 5 HP to his name, however. Yeah, the early game went really well for Sagat, but then just got caught in the corner and then just got beat up over and over again. Maybe just... I don't even know. Can't even remember, honestly. The first half of the game is just kind of a mush for me. I mean, went low on resources and then got no value out of Exceed side, right? Like, exceeded while in the corner, which you don't see Sagat do very often. So I don't know. Anyway, does Carmine have second twist? Carmine can just like place a dissolve down here and then shake back, but maybe he doesn't have second twist, so would feel uncomfortable doing so into a potential 5 power 7 speed 6 power 7 speed cross. Right, that Sagat's currently throwing or attempting to throw. Notably, if Carmine puts a dissolve down, that is not an option that just wins combat, because Carmine can respond with a 6 power spin to win the game. Puts the Ultra there instead, so yeah, I can't cross out anymore. Don't see a lot of Carmines close out games with the U blank. This is the end, but I mean, look, it's reliable, man. It's reliable for sure. Scott strikes with a face-up Tiger Knee, so this is going to be 8 power, 4 speed Tiger Knee with before close 2. Has no defenses on it, so, or has no armor on it, so loses to certain options and loses to that. Does not have enough defenses on it, and that's game. So I mean, just kind of. Did he have the EX Tiger Knee as well? Chose not to play it. I guess EX Tiger Knee still loses. No, EX Tiger Knee doesn't lose, but. Huh. Definitely, definitely LePhisto lost us with the end game there. The mid game as well. In fact, they just looked dominant once he was able to coerce Sagat to stay in the corner for 80% of the game. Anyway, Feathers takes game 2, so we are going down to final game, folks. It's going to be game 3. Both these players with a shot to make it into the playoffs. Nobody they'll be making it to the opening match of playoffs, but Feathers has the Ryu, the Beheaded, and the Bang. LePhisto has the Sagat or the Merkava to go to. Notably, Feathers' Ryu has performed really poorly this tournament. Only 2-5. It's like really poor. I wonder if Feathers is going to shy away from the Ryu because he's only 2-5. I know Feathers plays a ton of Ryu. He plays a ton of Beheaded too. Doesn't play a lot of Bang, but plays a ton of those two characters. So I'm assuming one of those comes out. LePhisto brings 2 characters. Oh, just has the Sagat card. Okay. It's gonna be Sagat. It's gonna be the Beheaded from Feathers. Not trusting the Ryu. Going to the trusty Beheaded instead. Game 3 between 2 very solid characters, so this should be an interesting one. Beheaded takes a little bit of time to ramp up, obviously, with the traits and all that. But once he gets multiple traits down, he becomes a bit of a monster. Wait, LePhisto looks like he's going to be opting to go first here. Feathers does have options against even a face-up Tiger Shot, right? Because on turn 1, we have the potential of an EX dive attack, which is 4 power at 6 speed. So can't just throw out turn 1 Tiger Shot for free. Sagat cannot. If he's playing extra careful, he probably shouldn't. Just because that card exists. Notably, Feathers also does have like a little bit of a fireball, right, in the infantry bow. 2-5, 4-4 with brutality becomes 6-4. We're just gonna see LePhisto prepare turn 1. I like that. The onus is on Beheaded to move in somewhat, whether that be through a strike or through movement, I believe. So, turn 1 prep from Sagat seems fine. Back to Feathers here, and Feathers really taking his time thinking on turn 1 what his best course of action would be. He could cross in, like run in maybe. He could. He does technically have a range 4 mix-up if he wants to try to build early gauge. Right, has like a dive, fast dive, fireball mix-up. That's the thing. Nope, it's going to be the dodge roll on the wrenching whip to move to range 1. Range 1, however, does introduce this terrifying boost. As it does the quick backdash. So Sagat can pick range 3 if he wants. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And strikes with the face-up Tiger Shot. It's going to be a 2-5, 3-5. Hit, push 1 at the top card of your discard pile to your gauge. Just going to get blocked. So LePhisto builds 2 early gauge again. Beheaded now finds himself at range 4. We're going to be boosting Tactical here. Season 6's favorite boost, but found in Season 4. I don't remember if it's found in earlier seasons, but good boost. +1 speed, now move 1. Moving to range 3, threatening that range 3 mix-up with +1 speed is always nice. Above curve assault does work for Beheaded, getting that second gauge, getting those traits online, and starting to get that snowball going. Back to Sagat here, who, we'll say if there's one macro mistake that Sagat made in that first game, just a high-level idea, was stayed in the corner for a really long time. a really, really long time. As we see Sagat boosting defend, +1 armor, +3 guard. Maybe like a defend assault to yoink advantage. Looks pretty good here for Sagat. Especially if Beheaded wants to strike with the +1 speed, which I'm assuming he's going to plan to do at some point, but... No, we're actually seeing the knife dance boosted. Extra range, hit gain advantage. Knife dance into what, though, is the question. It doesn't matter, it gets teched. I mean, so, okay, so range 2 options for the twin daggers and the assault shield. No, not even. Like, twin daggers cross are the only things that matter for. Maybe he just wanted the hit gain advantage. But it doesn't matter, it gets teched by Sagat. Beheaded prepares. Apparently happy with the position. +1 speed at range 3. Sagat's change cards 1, draws 2. Discarding that low step kick. I mean, pretty mediocre card. When you exceed, it becomes decent, right? Because the 3 power above curve, ignore guard. I mean, it's telegraphed as it's super telegraphed, but it's reliable. It's just kind of low impact, right? You see, Beheaded initiate a strike here at range 3. This is pure range 3 mix-up. Well, I mean, if Sagat has EX Assault, you max your EX Assault. Otherwise, you play... I mean, you probably play 1 Assault, regardless. Oh, interesting. It's going to be a dive. So, dive beats dive. Feathers will deal 4 damage. And stun out the defend boost from Sagat. Okay, Sagat finally is able to run out the corner here. Chooses range 3 to do so. Yeah, of course, Feather's playing dive to pop the defend boost. No EX Assault available for Sagat, unfortunately. Okay, Beheaded can be striking with from range 3. Feel like this is just Assault. Assault into advantage chain, yeah. Assault gets blocked by LePhisto. LePhisto discards second copy of Spike to take no damage. Both players have 3 gauge. Beheaded will exceed first. Of course, when Beheaded exceeds, he gains a trait. +1 power, +1 speed on his next strike. Does Feathers go for range here to counter the potential assault, not assault boost, the potential exceed from Sagat? Or does he go power to try to beat Sagat's head in, is the question. Right, because I feel like if Sagat goes, if Beheaded goes power, Sagat definitely exceeds. Maybe Sagat still exceeds anyway? Okay. Yep, Sagat exceeds anyway. Draws 2 cards and retreats up to 2. Chooses to retreat the full amount. Back to Beheaded here, who has range 3 mix up again into Sagat with only one, with +1 power, +1 speed. So Sagat can't even cross out. Feather's just going for it. This is on curve dive. Will hit Sagat for 2. Unfortunately, this means that Feathers is now on short side of board. Will revert, but now giving Sagat a chance to just run away. Yeah, Sagat, look at all the space that Sagat has. Okay, here's the QBD. Notably, that's the second LTS down. So Sagat can't really go too far away now, which is weird. Because that's second low tiger shot down. And I believe, yeah, Sagat doesn't have any way to recur things, right? And that's now its second Tiger shot down as well. Sagat is out of ranged options almost completely. That's you don't see that happen every day. I don't know why he didn't crit this. Oh, because he had no crit. Okay, so it's gonna be a 2-5, 4-5. Met with the twin daggers at speed 6. Yeah, and that's what range will do to you, right? That's what tactics will do to you. So definitely a lot of kind of beginning level beheaded players will take the power. Because like obviously power is great, right? But tactics is super like tactics lets you break speed curve, which allows you to get power that much easier, right? And beheaded literally gets his brutality in one combat, and now beheaded is super far ahead. Beheaded exceeds +1 power, +1 speed. Now, obviously, well, down both dives. Still has an assault, but now has a bunch of above curve options with the tactics, right? Going for the wrenching whip, which will beat the sweep. That's gonna be six power total wrenching whip. I believe Lephisto only took 4 there. Yeah, it's gonna be +2 power, and this game's over. This game's over. Sagat has no resources. Sagat has no fireballs. Sagat literally just has +1 power, +1 speed normals. Into beheaded with tactics and brutality. Good luck. Massive is a good start. I mean, extra range, armor and guard, sure. That's a good start. Just that's like the last ranged option. Yeah, okay. So the thing is, it's not all doom and gloom for Sagat, right? Sagat has 4 ultra boosts left into a beheaded that has no text left. Not unlosable. Not unwinnable, sorry, for Sagat. But it's surely an uphill battle. Surely it's an uphill battle. Lephisto just forgetting about key options with the traits. Went for a speed 5, but beheaded with tactics just breaks speed curve so easily. Wonder if there's a world where beheaded reshuffles here. It's a little early. There are 17 cards left. But it gets text back. It gets... No, it's probably too early. It gets a block back. It's almost assuredly too early. I think if beheaded has a block, he's like totally fine for this next strike. Especially if Sagat overcommits to it. It's beheaded, you can just sit here and prep. You can even CC if you want to go through cards faster. Beheaded spends 2 force to move to range 2. Beheaded notably does have a DP shape now, which pushes 3 as well, counteracting the massive boost perhaps. It does no damage, but actually no, it will do 2 damage because this is a 1-2, 6-7 if the push goes off. Man, how spicy would it be if beheaded had EX Phaser right now? Sagat striking with 1 card face down. I mean, you have to strike face down if you're Sagat, right? Because you have to represent grasp but only as part of a mix-up. You can't play 100% grasp here. So striking face down makes sense. Sagat is out of spikes, so no. So I mean, blocking is free for beheaded if he wants to just null beat this, but. Will beheaded go for the single phaser or single wave of denial? Excuse me. Goes for the phaser instead. Oh, catches the cross. Catches the cross. Gets and wow, and Sagat gets no value out of the massive armor because obviously phaser does NA power. And now Feather's threatening like a billion damage wave of denial here. I'm assuming he strikes into this right away. Yeah, strikes into it right away. So just a reminder, phaser without any, or wave denial. Oh, is that Ace Grasp? Oh no. Tables turn again. Beheaded loses all those resources, but doesn't get the value out of the phaser. Wow. And now Sagat says, I'm going to strike with a 1-5-6. Deal with this. And you can't. Sagat steals 5. Okay, yep, there we go. Beheaded change cards 2, drawing 3. And now suddenly, like, Brawler Sagat has found Beheaded in an awkward position where Beheaded is just a little bit short on resources. +1 power, +1 speed on normals is good, right? I was kind of expecting Beheaded to zone out Sagat a little bit, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe +1 power, +1 speed on normals is just, I mean, not maybe. I mean, obviously +1 power, +1 speed on normals is good. It's really good. But this brawling style Sagat, Beheaded doesn't have survival yet. Beheaded is probably not going to get survival for a while. See a reading boost come out. Reading into a face-up normal. Read sweep, play sweep, for example. Going for the low step kick, but no crit? That's a weird play. Why do you not crit this? Why would you play low step kick and not crit it? Did you just forget? Is that tournament nerfs right there? Why is Beheaded while swinging? There was no crit. What? I have no idea what was that interaction. What is going on? Why are we playing low step kicks without crits? Why are we not responding with cards from hand that beat low step kicks super hard there? Oh man, that is tournament nerfs to the max. What is that? I just want to check to make sure that wasn't crit. Yeah, it definitely wasn't crit. Weird. What? Oh man, that is... I mean, these are two players that clearly know how to play Exceed, but it's just... mistakes abound. Like, Sagat did not crit that low... that did not crit this low step kick. Okay, we're committing cards and then taking them back. 7 power twin daggers will not pop the 7 defenses of focus. So it'll be Sagat taking 5 and Beheaded taking 4 back. Sagat draws a card. Notably, important thing about this Twin Daggers was that Sagat is down EX Grasp, so has no Speed 7 options on defense. Looks like the Wave of Denial gets parried. That's second block down for Sagat. I don't know. I thought Beheaded's win con would be like fast options and zoning against a Sagat with no fireballs, but Beheaded choosing to stay up close and brawl here has brought Sagat back into the game, it feels like. I'm not going crazy, right? Like this low step kick was not critted by LePhisto, so it did not ignore guard. It was just a 1-3, 3-6 with nothing. I don't know what's happening. Beheaded choosing to reshuffle, get those options back. I suggested like a comically early reshuffle like 15 minutes ago, but I don't think it was the correct play. Is this Sagat striking with a face-up sweep? Okay, face-up sweep. 1 to 3, 7, 3. Deal with this. Oh, no, it's a move action. I was about to say, both Twin Daggers are down for Beheaded, but Beheaded can respond to that with, like, a 6-power Wave of Denial. Suddenly Sagat's at 1 HP. Something like that. But no, Sagat spends 2 force, the form of Focus Engage, and Sweep in hand to retreat. Beheaded says, okay, let me move up 1, threaten that DP shape. 1, 6, 7. Not bad at all. Sagat going for the reshuffle without allowing Feathers to look at the discard? And no one's asking for a rewind, so I'm assuming we're just letting this go through, okay. This game feels like it's falling apart, but okay, fine. I don't know, you really, really should be asking. It looked like, the way Feathers moved his hand, it looked like Feathers wanted to look at the discard. And LePhisto did not let him, but I don't know, maybe I'm misinterpreting that. Oh wait, Feathers prepares. I mean, now we could even have 1 to 2, 7, 8 on deck. LePhisto prepares. Both blocks now back in the deck for Sagat to deal with the shenanigans. Dives back in the deck for Feathers if Sagat ever wants to boost something like a Swift Destruction. A lot of games we've casted earlier in this tournament have been lost because players have not reshuffled early. See a Fierce boosted into a reading. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. Reading hits. Oh no. Reading hits. That is a risky reading, I'll say that much. That is a risky reading that LePhisto went for, but it hits. Did Sagat play that spike face up? I'm assuming so, because Sagat took 6 for that. And Feathers down to his last 4 HP. This game is This game definitely unraveled, right in front of our eyes. Sagat like making this comeback look really good. You see the phaser boosted plus 4 power. Sagat, of course, the threat here is the Wave of Denial, but Sagat can play an above curve cross at speed 7, for example. Sagat can play Tiger Cannon as well to try to counteract this. And the only thing that would beat those options is the EX Wave of Denial. Does Feathers have that? How spicy would it be if Feathers has EX Wave of Denial for anything Sagat throws? That would be extremely spicy. Sagat going for it. Says, do you have the EX Wave of Denial? I'm throwing a Tiger Cannon at you. 2 to 5, 5, 7. Oh man, will Sagat complete the comeback? Is there an EX Wave of Denial? EX Wave of Denial wins the game if Feathers has it. Oh! EX Assault Shield to not die? Oh no. So EX Assault Shield will negate most of this damage, right? It misses, but it negates most of the damage. That's going to be 2 power coming through the Assault Shield. Sagat, however, does have advantage, so can do things with, like an Assault is looking really good. Tire Destruction looks pretty good as well. 186 Feathers. Oh no. That's it. Sagat takes it 2 to 1. Completing the comeback. And, well, who needs zoning when you have +1 power, +1 speed, right? Who needs zoning? Game definitely fell apart a little bit at the end there. A little bit scrappy, as they say, but MrLephisto moves on to playoffs, where he will be fighting Moriarty in the opening match. Feathers now out of the tournament, unfortunately. Ends the tournament run 3-3. GG's to both players. Definitely a set to remember with the first Carmine mirror we ever saw, and then this Sagat comeback, and wow. That's all I have to say, really, is wow. Wow, yeah. So yeah, MrLephisto, congrats on making playoffs. Commiserations to Feathers, who just barely misses out on playoffs after what felt like, I think he started like 3-0 or something, but then just lost his last 3 games, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, losing to Rose and then Feathers and then now MrLephisto. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. I am losing my voice a little bit. I think I'm still a little bit sick. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a follow. Hit the bell, leave a comment. Definitely a spicy end to this game. But until playoffs, we'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.